Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Eye on the Ball. I'm Steve Rivera, and you're listening to 1030 The Voice. In with me today, I'll be doing a little babysitting. Mike Fedor is in with me, texting and tweeting and doing all this stuff like a 20-year-old.
Oh, come on. I'm posting on Instagram a selfie. I never do selfies, so I thought this would be funny.
I would have posted that to Facebook. And our meeting here today, thanks for joining me. Busy day in sports. How was the last 2-3 days for you?
Weird. A lot of my day today was spent going grocery shopping.
Was there anything left on the shelves?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. No toilet paper. Explain to me
I have no idea.
Why people want toilet paper. Why there's a run on toilet paper. I can't figure that out.
Did you go for your run?
Huh?
Did you guys go for your run?
For toilet paper?
I have yet to go.
Oh, no. We went, and, there was some stuff that was out, toilet paper, a few different items, but in the most part, there was a lot of people there. I saw at Costco there was an hour and a half wait to get in Marana.
I live out there.
Oh, did you?
Well,
the one off the highway in Cortero.
Yeah. Not to get in?
Yeah.
I would just want to go get shrimp. That's all.
No, so, I mean, it's just how the world has changed so much.
Wow.
But like for me, I'm watching the show, whether it be MSNBC, CNN, something like that. Just doing little things, nothing high level. So here, I got something. If people want to call in, what's the phone number?
790-2040.
I'm 67 years old. I've never had a time in my life where there's no sports on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, my God, I'm losing my mind. And driving here on the MLB Network radio, they're replaying the 2011 World Series Game 6. They're going to play it in its entirety.
Who was that?
I don't know who that was. I'm not sure who it was, but I guess it was a good game.
Yeah, I guess.
ESPN has got that big series they're doing on Michael Jordan, 10-part series. They should move it up and put it on right now.
Oh, yeah, they should, actually. Yeah. Hey, we got a phone call already. Gabe, thanks for calling in. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Stephen. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Well, we're sort of in a funky time in sports and in life right now.
I would agree.
And I saw via Facebook your, sort of guest list tonight. And one of the things that I have, maybe it's not real and maybe it's just my perception, but it seems to me that there's a huge disconnect and communication problem between, say, for example, the NCAA and the individual conferences. The NBA and individual teams as far as, how everybody is handling this COVID-19 thing. And I was sort of wondering from your guest perspective there, who I have great respect for.
Guest meaning loosely stated, but go ahead.
Yes, how all of that was because, you at one time, Mike, I mean, you're not part of Major League Baseball, but you're a AAA team. But you're, part of the Diamondbacks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How is
New Orleans
communication
Saints
handled between all of these groups?
Well, there's no magic formula for this right now because we've never lived this. So how should it be handled? I don't know. I do believe that they should have canceled the games. I think the safety of the fans and the athletes is essential. Am I disappointed? Of course I am. I'm a sports fan.
Sure.
But it's just I don't the NCAA. Would I have loved to have watched the games in buildings with no fans? Probably. But I watched Stephen Colbert last night without an audience, and it really was weird.
I watched all of them, and there was like no jokes,
God,
no laughs.
You just kind of no. I mean, they need laugh tracks on there.
Right.
They need canned music. So I don't know. Empty stadiums. I'm really not there. But, the NCAA, I saw today that they're going to do an exemption or whatever the right word is to allow athletes in the spring sports, so baseball, softball, golf, to get another year if they choose to use that. I think that's a pretty good deal. I feel terrible. I was looking so forward to watching U of A baseball and softball. I think both of them would have had decent teams. I guess I read somewhere that the golf teams are really good.
Yeah.
at U of A this year, and we're kind of deprived of that. But is there a way around it? I don't know. I don't know that there was any way around it. I just hope, again, as a baseball fan, I hope the major league block out, whatever you want to call it, doesn't go too long. I don't know how they're going to decide when it's okay to go back.
Now going back in time here with me, if you'll indulge me for a minute or two. You're the general manager of the Tucson Toros.
Yep.
Who do you look to for direction at that time? I mean, do you look to the Diamondbacks? Do you look to Major League Baseball? Do you look to AAA baseball? I mean, or are you your own entity and say, well, we're going to play the games, hell with you? I mean,
we're governed. We're a professional baseball team, and I'll use the Houston Astros because that's who we're affiliated with. The Houston Astros.
Let me be real quickly, but okay.
They own all the players. I mean, we don't own the players. So as the GM of a AAA team, I'm accountable to the owner of our team on the business side, not the player side. And we're a member of the Pacific Coast League, and we follow Pacific Coast League rules. The Pacific Coast League follows the National Association, the governing body's rules. The National Association obviously follows what goes on in Major League Baseball, so there's no independence whatsoever. We're just following the rules, and it's quite honestly. Now, an independent baseball team, that's different. But even like the Sugar Skulls right now, they're professional athletes, but they're not affiliated. They're a member of the Indoor Football League, and they will do what the Indoor Football League tells them to do.
Because it's been really bad optics, to see, for example, I think it was the Big Ten or maybe the Big East tournament the other day.
Oh, that they cut off at halftime.
Yeah, they stopped.
That's insane.
It's like, come on, people, talk to each other a little bit.
No, everybody was just scrambling. I mean, I think you would agree with me when I say that the knob got turned once Rudy Gobert was found to have the coronavirus. All of a sudden, now it's real. And I think the conference tournaments might have finished had the NBA not canceled. Now the NBA cancels, and then now there's this, everybody's following along, or they look stupid and they look irresponsible. But the Rudy Gobert announcement is the impetus to really, really get this thing going.
Hey, Gabe, thanks for calling in. We got to get to Judy McDermott here on the other side. Thanks for. Where are you at? Are you in town? Or are you on the road?
I am in Phoenix here for a week of spring training and golf.
Oh, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Hey, thanks for tuning us in.
You got it. You guys take care.
Thanks, Gabe. Good to hear from you. Hey, let's take a quick break. Could you tell Scott to call back at 6:30? Because we're going to get Judy on the phone here before we go to break. Thanks, Scott, for calling in. We'll get you in about 15, 20 minutes. Let's take a quick break here on 10:30 The Voice. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 10:30 The Voice. I'm your host, Steve Rivera. In with me is Mike Fedor, and on the line we have the executive director of the Tucson Conquistadors, Judy McDermott, and I would like to say one of the luckiest women in town. And let me say, not because she's on the phone with me, but you guys dodged a huge bullet 2 weeks ago.
We really did. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, you guys did a fantastic job, but you avoided all this controversy with the coronavirus.
Well, I have to be honest. Our doctor, we have a doctor on call for the tournament, and he was talking about it. We had some players that were sick, and they had players that come back from Morocco that were sick and things. And he's like, Judy, I'm telling you, this coronavirus is serious stuff. And I kind of, I listened, but I kind of brushed it off. And then next thing you know, here we are. So
Wow. And you had a great turnout, didn't you?
We had, honestly, we set all kinds of records with our attendance and crowds, and it was the second year of our concert, partnering with the DM50 for our military appreciation concert. We had about 6,000 people for that, and so we had lots of folks out at the event, and I'm glad we were able to pull it off. But I'm just sick about all sports, but PGA Tour golf, canceling that, and now even the postponing the Masters. those players are all independent contractors. They're not under contract, so if they don't play, they don't make any money.
Right. Well, you see that with the UFC fighters and those type of fighters because they're self-employed.
But they're still fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, but I bet you they don't. I mean, because they're asking, do you want to fight? He says, yeah, this is how I make my money.
Hi, Judy.
How you doing, Mike?
Good. Great job on the tournament.
Thank you. A team effort, as you know, and we're actually having our volunteer Golf Appreciation Day at Omni tomorrow to thank all of our volunteers. We have, almost 600 of them. Obviously, they're not all playing golf. It's the first of two events, but some of them have canceled. Afraid to go out and be in public. And
well, the Conquistadors do a tremendous job, and it's so important what you guys do for our community. So, as a community person, somebody who lives in Tucson, just thank you guys for the great effort all these years.
That's very kind. It's a lot of fun, and we love keeping professional golf here in Tucson, thanks to our sponsor in Cologuard. And it's just one of those things where, when they first said PGA Tour golf, they were going to just not have spectators and still play, and then next thing, and then a day later, canceling the tournaments altogether. Saw something in the Valspar tournament, PGA Tour event in Tampa. They showed them taking down all their tents today. Just amazing.
You played at UCLA back in the day, true?
I did.
How would you have felt about this and then saying, sorry, your season's done, no more?
Oh, awful. I'm just sick. I mean, Laura Ianello, the women's golf coach, and I know she's sick about it. You think about Idea Barnes and women's basketball here. I mean, it's just the whole thing is just sad, and I'm no expert when it comes to this, so I can't comment on the coronavirus and all the things it means. Watching our president today, he doesn't know what he's talking about either. He just has to take what the experts are saying.
Oh my God, you opened me up to such an easy one there, Judy, but I'm just going to bite my tongue and not say a word.
This is not the John C. Scott show, guys. This is not the John C. Scott show. But it's unbelievable. I feel sick, but we talked about this a little bit earlier, but some of the spring sports, if not all the spring sports, might get that extra year back, the seniors.
Yeah, I don't know what's all going to happen. I think you guys have been following, that. I can only talk about our tournament and what's going on in golf. And we postponed our classes even for our first tee programming. We were supposed to start our new sessions on Monday, and it's just, so we canceled those. The kids can still go out and play golf and use the golf courses, but we're not going to have formal classes next week, and it's just.
Well, I'm on the Southern Arizona Law Enforcement Foundation board, and we have our Canine Walk for Cops coming up next Saturday, and this is just dogs. It's not just dogs; it's dogs and their owners. Same thing. Right. Just today the plug was pulled on it, and I saw something, and you probably dealt with them over the years, but the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona is actually doing some things for nonprofits that have canceled events. So that's, again, a really nice thing.
Yeah, I love Clinton, that board. They just do a great job.
I would assume in situations like this, Judy, that you'll be asked to help support more things?
Oh, I'm sure that's going to happen. But just the whole economy across the board. I just stopped at the Bashes at Camp Lowell just to buy a few things, and cupboards are bare. I heard Mike talking about it earlier with the toilet paper and all that. It's just, I don't get that, but it's gone. It doesn't exist.
So you can't explain the toilet paper either?
No, I cannot, or the paper towels.
Well,
it's
it's weird times we live in.
No, and Francisco Garcia, our Pima County, health guy, he's telling people to, not react this way, but people still are.
Yeah, it's happening all over the world. Happening definitely in the United States. Let me ask you, going back to your event, how many holes in ones did you have? I saw one on Sunday on the military.
Did you see Darren Clark?
Yes. It's really weird because I don't know him. I really don't know him. He's the kind of the heavier set.
He's Irishman. He's Irishman.
Oh, okay, so he won the British Open at some point, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's Ryder Cup. Everything.
Right.
Yeah,
so let me tell you a quick story. So I was Sunday night. I was with the guys from All Sports Tucson. 4 or 5 hours after the event, about 8 o'clock, and we were at Trident on the northwest side. And here he comes in. I saw him hit.
No kidding.
And he comes in with his son, and I'm thinking, I gotta say hi to him. I just saw him hit the hole in one, so I go up to him, say, hi, Arn. This is where guys who hit holes in one come after the. And he didn't even tell his son. He hadn't even told his son yet, and he said, "Yeah, you had a hole in one." He says, "Yeah," and I said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the one breaking the news to you." And then he said he knew who I was, which is very strange. Does he live here?
No.
I don't know how he would have known who I was because
everybody knows who you are, Steve.
Everybody knows you.
Sure. No. Come on, look at this face.
You're an author. I mean,
I look at this face. I could be somewhere in Schenectady, but it was very strange. And then he just kind of shows up at Trident and having dinner.
That is a riot. How come you didn't call me right away, Steve?
Judy, come here, real quick. Is this guy? No, but very affable, very friendly, and not like,
he's amazing. Was he having a Guinness?
No, he had just kind of maybe a minute into the situation. I said, I got to go talk to him real quick.
Hey, Judy, can you talk, because I think I've heard you talk about this before, the kind of person as opposed to athlete that comes in for the senior event?
Meaning the pro?
Yeah, no, I mean the kind of guys they are.
Oh, the guys they are as people.
Yeah, as people,
well,
right.
Yeah. Well, they were PGA pros at one point, but now they're playing on the PGA Tour Champions once they turn 50. But as Bernard Longer will say, people will say to him, "Why do you keep playing? Why do you come out here and play?" And he says, "I love to compete."
Oh yeah, of course.
But there's no cut. So these guys come out. They've already made their money. There's a 2-day pro-am. They play in the pro-am. Some play both days. Some play only one day. But they only have to play 3 days of competition, and there's no competition in making the cut. So everybody makes a check. I mean, if you finish last, you only make like $1,000, so it doesn't even pay for their expenses. Again, when I go back to them being an independent contractor, but they've already made it. They just like to come out with the guys, and that's something that Ernie Els is saying. Ernie just won last week in Newport, but he did play in our event, and he was a huge draw for us because he hasn't played in Tucson since we hosted match play, and they just like coming out and being with the guys, and they still enjoy competing, but there isn't the stress of making that cut. And because of that, because the field is smaller with PGA Tour Champions, there's only 78 players. When you go to a PGA Tour regular event, there's 144 or 156, and it's a tougher tour to actually get on and keep your card. You were just talking about Darren Clark. He actually needed an exemption into our event. I mean, that's how tough this tour is to get on.
But aren't they great guys? I mean, they'll do anything for you, and
they will do anything. They understand sponsor relations. They understand all of that. And I think too, just as you mature, you get it. But again, they're just out having a good time with all their buddies and just enjoying everything. But they come to our pro-am parties. That's what's so great about this event is, that we sell the pro-am, obviously, where you get to play inside the ropes with a pro. And the night before the one of the pro-ams, you actually come to a pairings party. And we had probably 55 players there of the 78-player field at the pairings party on Tuesday night in the Big Ten at Omni.
Let me say one quick thing before we have to go here in 90 seconds. I thought the best guy who played besides Longer is my boy Daly. He had a fantastic weekend.
He had a good weekend for him. He was at the concert on Saturday night, and he knows Lee Bryce, who was our country performer, and they were having a good old time. And I'll tell you, who was a hell of a nice guy, who I wasn't expecting, was Roger Clemens. He played in our Pro-Am on Thursday and played in the Celebrity Challenge on Saturday. And we had Frankie Felix from the first tee caddy for him. He couldn't have been nicer to Frankie. He autographed photos of he and Frankie together, and he basically did anything we asked. All the celebrities did, but I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting that from Roger Clemens.
And he had a reputation of being somewhat surly when he was in the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, and just couldn't have been nicer. Had his wife with him, and she couldn't have been nicer. And just all the celebs were just awesome. But I was just most, amazed by how nice Roger Clemens was.
Great. Judy, thanks for joining us. Had fun again.
Thank you.
All right. Great, Judy. Judy, thanks.
Mike, have fun.
All right, see you, Judy.
Great. We got to take a quick break here at the break.
Everybody.
All right, bye, Judy. Thank you. Great to hear from Judy. And we've got to go to take a quick break here on 1030 The Voice and come back and talk a lot of different topics with Mike Fedor. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera. Scott, if you wanted to call back, please do if you're still listening. We'd love to hear from you. Always good to talk to you. Let's talk about something in your wheelhouse, the WBC that was supposed to be here. It should be today, I think yesterday was starting.
It was supposed to start today.
Yeah, did you have any involvement with that?
I did in a small way. I was just helping find some local staff.
Mm-hmm.
Ticket sellers, bat boys, a seamstress, stuff like that. And I just told them, I said, we want you to be successful. This is important for our community.
Right.
And for people who don't know what the WBC is, it's the World Baseball Classic. And over the next 2 weeks, there were supposed to be teams from 12 different countries around the world that were trying to qualify for the big WBC next year against teams like the United States, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Japan, stuff like that. So obviously, like others, this is owned by Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And once they pulled the plug yesterday on spring training and the start of the Major League season, there's no way that this event going to continue. But I hope it's going to continue. There's some interesting name. I hope it's going to continue in the fall.
Back here, if there's a chance, because it's a great facility.
Right.
Wouldn't you think they'd go somewhere else because the other facilities won't be used?
Not necessarily. I think they felt an obligation. That's kind of too strong of a word.
To here?
Yeah, but Tucson did a lot of things to help them out.
Makes sense.
And, they have 6 locker rooms, which they need for 6 teams. Now, I don't think all 6 teams, 6 teams for sure were here. But I'm not sure all of next week's
12
teams were here.
Well, that was the concern.
I know Spain was here. They
that was
came
the
in
concern,
early.
that they were not going to show up eventually because of all the stuff.
Well, no, everybody was, it was great. South Africa, I saw an interview with one of the players from South Africa, and he said, these facilities are so lovely, and he said, everybody treated us so well, and then, just on a personal note, Bruce Bochy, when I was a GM in Cocoa, Florida in 1977, Boch was our catcher. So I was really hoping to see Bruce, and then Barry Larkin, and then Tim Tebow next week. Would have been here with the Philippines. Barry Larkin was going to coach the Brazil team. So it's a shame for our community.
Mm-hmm.
But, like we talked about in the beginning of the show, it's a shame for a lot of people right now.
Have you gone through something like this? Because you've been in Mississippi, New Orleans, and when Katrina, were you there?
I was in Katrina, and then in Jackson, Mississippi, we had the greatest flood in the history of, and they've had a lot of flooding recently.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the biggest flood ever in the history of the city. And we canceled games and stuff like that. And Katrina, obviously, we had to move out of town. I was at the time working for the New Orleans Saints. But nothing compares to this.
Sure. No.
But there's still, you
tragedies.
have situations, and you just really have to learn how do you deal with them.
Right. How was it back then? It's kind of like,
well, Katrina was really affecting one team.
Mm-hmm.
But
but the entire community.
Well, it was devastated.
Southern Louisiana.
I don't know. If you talk about devastation, what happened in the New Orleans metro area was much greater than anything happening in the United States right now. A lot of people lost their lives and stuff, and they lost their businesses, and they had to move, and so that was weird. The storm hit on a Monday. Patty and I left New Orleans on a Sunday. It was
the day before
mandatory evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Jackson, Mississippi, where we had friends. On Thursday, Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints at the time, told us we had to be back in San Antonio to be ready for whatever, and that became the Labor Day weekend, and there was no time to breathe. It was just saddle up and let's go. And the New Orleans Saints team, went to Oakland. They just practiced there. Our first game we couldn't play at home. The first was in New York City, and then we wound up playing games in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And it was chaos. But this is a different weird right now.
Right, because it involves the entire United States world. Yeah.
Right.
Not just here, the world. So, what else did you want to talk about? NCAA situation with the Arizona team or the spring sports.
Susie or
Judy
said she's right. I mean, your heart goes out. Number one on my list would be Adia Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
The head coach of the women's basketball team. They had such an exciting season. I was looking so forward to going to the playoff games. And now it's a human story. That the pain and anguish. They hadn't been to an NCAA tournament game in 15 years. You see what goes on. I've had some association with Jay Johnson and the baseball team. They played one year in the Mexican Baseball Fiesta. The men's basketball team.
Trying to work their way back.
Yeah, everybody was upset with them, and they had a chance to at least do something. And then overall, the NCAA,
the softball team, that's pretty spectacular.
Well, I think the softball team could have been a team playing for the national championship this year, and now their dreams are gone. I mean, they might never strap it up on the field again.
Right, or postponed. Their dreams could be postponed.
Well,
not with this same group, but
if you're a senior, and the NCAA came out with something today, which is interesting, that they might allow athletes to have an extra year, a senior, something like that. But there's a lot of issues with that.
Sure, money.
I mean, roster construction. They've already given out so many rosters, going back to school. But that would have been pretty cool if some of the seniors. I mean, like. Gettings. I don't know that he'd come back.
No. I mean, you're talking basketball. I don't think any of them will come back.
Right.
But
that's different.
I'm talking
That's elite.
softball. You're talking softball?
Well, I slipped over to them, but there are some great players on that softball team.
Oh, yeah. Well, the pitcher from the dude transferred from Oklahoma.
Yeah, but is she eligible next year if they give her an extra year because she was in the transfer portal? I don't know.
Gettings a transfer from Cornell, same difference. Ari McDonald, she was up against a decision anyway.
Coming out as a junior
junior to the NBA, or to the WNBA.
So I that's a hard one. I mean, so I think there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, that's really the biggest thing right now is the future. I mean, an NBA story, and he might still play. Vince Carter. Did you see that interview?
When he finished, when he hit the shot, and then
well, but he might never play again, and he came back for an extra year to have the celebration and to go out the right way. His career might have ended 2 days ago.
Right. I saw that. And
that's a human story. Those are the kind of stories that are meaningful to me.
No, exactly. To me too. Being a journalist, you want to tell those stories or be available. I think they'll make the right decision. Most of the time they don't, but I think in this situation they will. But it'll only affect the spring sport, the softball, the baseball, the track and field,
golf,
things like that.
Right.
Because I don't know. They've already played the basketball season. I mean,
I agree. There's no sense in rolling back the clock on basketball.
Correct.
Their season ended. Their regular season ended.
Right.
But the other sports, I mean, those aren't the elite TV sports, and it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out.
A lot of things being impacted. Economic communities impact a lot of different areas.
Well, and talk about communities. Just another little note I wrote down. This affects the ushers, the guys parking cars, the clubhouse people, the vendors,
the NBA workers.
Right, without question.
Hourly people.
And so I felt good. Today I heard a few things that really give you
hope.
Confidence.
Yeah,
hope is a better word.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson, kid's not even 20 years old, is covering the cost of arena people in New Orleans.
For a month.
Other guys, Kevin Love. I'm sure I'm going to leave people out. Giannis. I don't want to dare try his last name for the Bucks. Blake Griffin, all giving $100,000. Mark Cuban.
For the same reason? For the area?
All of this is for that same reason.
Yeah.
There's team owners are also doing the same. Mark Cuban came out. The owner of the Tigers, Pistons, and the arena in Detroit, the Ilitch family, their foundation, is giving $1 million from their foundation for those type of people, whether it be the hockey, NBA, people in Lakeland at spring training for the Tigers, just to pay, and cover the cost of those employees, for what they've left, what they're not going to get.
So let me ask you, if you can talk about this. You've been long removed from baseball. How much did it cost to run a game a day? Ushers, yada yada, everything that you had to pay. What was the cost?
I guess I haven't thought about that for a long time. I don't know, $5,000-$10,000
A game.
Yeah, I mean, security.
Mhm.
You've got
everything.
police, sheriffs, bad boys, mascots.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you play 70. How many?
we played 72 home games.
So times. Yeah. That's
No, it's not inexpensive.
Yeah.
But this is the time where owners, players, they're making millions of dollars and billions of dollars.
Mhm.
They need to step up. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Yeah.
And I have a whole list of teams, owners that are doing the right thing, and that then the team that you're following, you know that they're doing things the right, and they're treating people well.
And it's community involvement or community support or
Right.
whatever. That in the long run, it comes back to you.
No, for sure it does.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and come back here for our final break here on 1030 The Voice. Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. And with me is the former GM of the Tucson Toros, Sidewinders, host of the Lou
Tucson
Olson-
Padres.
Tucson Padres, host of the Lou Olson Fantasy Camp. Got his T-shirt. If you want to re-listen to this show, we have it on not Facebook, but on YouTube. We'll have it available tomorrow.
And by the way, if you're bored with no sports on TV, I posted having some fun with Steve. He put it on my page today about read his book.
Oh yeah.
What's the book?
100 Things Arizona Fans Need to Know and Do Before They Die.
There you go.
It's 5 years old, but it's still a good book about the history of the Arizona basketball program. Relive the success. I know it's been tough this year. So let's go back real quick. You had the stoppage, and it was probably no doubt that it was going to be stoppage. Now the restart becomes the question: when and how?
Of Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball.
That's a tough one.
When is the right time?
Well,
NBA basketball too.
No, I know. But the NBA can go on for a while. They can go, quite honestly, they can go into September if they want.
You're talking, basketball.
The NBA.
Yeah, but then you have to start it up right away because
No, you do. That's the problem.
I think today I heard that they might go to July because they usually end in
Okay.
June. Father's Day is probably the last day.
But, in baseball, I mean, Major League Baseball was supposed to open, I think, around March 26th, somewhere in there. So if you listen to the doctor in the press conference, in Trump's press conference today, he said it could be anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 8 weeks. So
Before what?
before people kind of are getting back.
You
to
know what
what's-
happens not too far from here?
What?
The Olympics.
Oh, I know. In a country that's had a lot of issues.
Yes.
In the Orient, in Japan. So no, that's definitely going to be an issue. And I mean, I was thinking even the NBA. I mean, you're going to have players that are going to be playing in the Olympics.
Mhm.
Their regular season still might be going on.
Sure. And who's going to go back? I mean, do you trust the crowd sizes?
You almost have to. I mean, you're representing your country.
No. I'm talking about fans just for NBA games and.
They'll go back. Fans are missing sports right now, and will it be as great as it ever was? I don't know. But in baseball, so now you've got all these teams that have been getting ready for the start of their season. I heard today that Major League Baseball is not going to allow them to work out on the field in their spring training facilities, but they can train in the batting cages. They could do all the extra work, stuff
Just
like
not on
that.
the field.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have 3 choices: stay in the spring training city, go to their home, their residence in the off season.
That's not outside of the United States.
Correct, I think, and third, go to the city where they play Major League their Major League
And
team.
find their own facility to.
And to me, I think this is really going to tell the story about the word team. Because let's say it is 2-3 weeks. Well, they're not going to start the Major League season right after they go back. They got to play games.
Right, to get back in shape.
They got to get some games in. So, you're probably looking mid-April would be my guess. And the teams that stay together and work together, I think, have a great advantage at the start of the Major League season.
Isn't that called chemistry?
No, it is.
Trying to
Without
build
question
it.
it is.
Yeah. Hey, we got a call. Scott called back. We got to get to him. Can you hear me, Scott? How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How you guys doing?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to call and give some props to Sean Miller. I know I've been critical over him over the last couple of years, but he matched a feat that hasn't been accomplished since Lute Olson in the '97 team, and he ended the season with a tournament win, and I'm very proud of him, and it's good to see.
Well, it's funny because I know you're being sarcastic, maybe, but I saw somewhere on Facebook today that Arizona did the same thing they did in March. They were able to win their last game in March. Remember that day was March 31st, 1997. Hadn't turned the clock to April 1st, and that's when they won it all. Scott, good stat there. I know you're being a little sarcastic.
Well, it's always good to have a season in with a victory, and Sean Miller's finally done it, and I'm super excited. Maybe this is momentum to next season.
Hey, let me ask you a question. You're a sports fan, right?
Yes.
What do you do in the next few weeks?
Work.
Okay. I mean, for me, it's going to be so absurd at night. You know, when I'm just used to watching SportsCenter and watching a game, no matter what it is, and the start of the Major League Baseball season. I'm a big baseball guy. It's weird. I mean, I on my Facebook page today, I said, hey, what are some good series, some big things on Netflix that I can start watching?
Yeah, I'll definitely be catching up on some Hulu, some Netflix, maybe some ESPN Classic, reliving some of the memorable games over the past couple decades, maybe the '97 run.
And calling into my show.
Of course.
And giving.
You guys have a great night. Appreciate you taking me again, and I'll talk to you later.
Great, Scott. Thanks for calling and being persistent. What else did you have in your mind there, Mr. Mike?
Nothing. Let's day by day, right?
It's going to be boring for you. I mean, honestly, it's going to be tough. You remember your wife? Her name's Patty.
Yeah.
You guys have to be reunited here.
We don't have to.
I'm sure she's happy with it too.
No, I mean we've been married 43 years. So we have a lot of shows on the DVR to watch.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to catch up on a lot of series. All Rise is one that we watched. We got like 9 episodes to watch, and NCIS. We love all those shows. But no, I mean it's just it's different. If anybody wants a great series on Netflix, watch Money Heist. Money Heist is a longer series. It's almost like 24, and they're robbing the mint in Spain, so it's a good one to watch.
It's funny. I just got a text from one of my former guests, Brian Simeon. I can't remember his last name. Simeon. He's a coach in Mexico, basketball coach. So they're playing them, and they're going to stream their games live from Mexico, where they have former NBA players or former very good college players playing down in Mexico. I think it's Mazatlan. So
Brian, good luck.
Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
Yeah. So no, it's just people. What can you do?
Are handling it different in different places.
Right. I've already I'm the commissioner of a fantasy baseball league, and already the guys in the league are asking me, what are we going to do about the draft? When's it going to be? Well, it's supposed to be next week.
Yeah, right.
I said, just hang in there.
You geeks must be really in trouble.
Let's get an opening day determined first, and then we'll make a decision. But even SportsCenter, imagine
all this. It's going to be coronavirus 24/7.
Well, the good news is the NFL is going to take over next week.
The talks with the
free agents. I mean, Tom Brady all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, where's he going? Where do you think Tom Brady's going to go?
Was Tampa Bay the latest?
That was one.
I have no idea. Tennessee. I don't.
Tennessee.
I don't care.
I've even heard San Francisco.
San Diego.
No, L.A. Not
LA.
San Diego.
Oh, that's what I meant.
That will carry the sports fan for a little while. The franchise tag.
You can't get away from Tom Brady in the NFL. He's the number one story.
Well, he's the GOAT, right?
They're in Vegas.
That is actually could be a very legitimate rumor.
Oh, right that now. He might go there?
Yeah.
No, but even the franchise. Have you seen any of the stadium photos?
I saw it when I was in Vegas for the Mexican baseball fiesta.
Oh, that's right.
I saw the frame.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. And the new LA stadium is this year as well. Mm-hmm. So that's the one sport that's not impacted by this.
We only have a minute left. Are you going to be like so many others and just stay home? Are you going to kind of live your life as well as or as much as you can?
Well, I guess it's important to know I don't have a full-time job right now. so I come and go as I please every day.
Yeah.
So no, well, our grandson's in Phoenix. He
you have
just
that.
turned 8 months old.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Patty and I will go up and see Diego, and that'll be fun for us.
Yeah. Well, you have options.
Oh no, I'm not. I survive.
Yeah, you'll be fine. It's more to baseball, more to football, more to sports.
Well, I bought the baseball package, so I get all the Major League Baseball games. So
You'll be good in a month.
yeah, it won't take long.
Right. Well, thanks, Mike, for coming in.
No, thanks for
It's
inviting
always
me.
good. I always enjoy talking to you, having you in. Tom, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
We're ready. Let's take a time off here and see you guys next week here on 10:30 The Voice.